When you're younger, you know that you like someone, but you don't really know what those feelings mean and how to express them. The thoughts of whether these feelings are mutual between the boy and girl starts to form as they begin this new relationship.
To be a man, that's something that's lost these days. Most men today are pretty much still children, they're still boys. Most men today aren't raised by men, they're raised by their women and their mothers, if their mothers are still there. Some men are raised on the streets and have to learn to be a man in the harsh way.
My definition of a man is, of course, a male who has reached the age of maturity and responsibility to take care of himself and to contribute to society.
My definition is someone who not only values his loved ones, including his family, but then also his friends, and he respects.
But someone that has both the emotional, physical, and spiritual qualities that makes up manhood. Someone that is responsible, someone that is strong physically, spiritually, and mentally, and someone that is capable of taking care of himself and others.
Priorities is what I think masculinity is to me. But besides the physical aspects and the characteristics, I think.
Toxic masculinity probably has something to do with a part of culture now that seems to have to demean women in some way or another to feel powerful.
One can be masculine without necessarily being a responsible person. I think masculinity in our society really means someone that is physically strong, someone that is assertive. I started to use the term aggressive, but someone that is assertive.
A lot of young men attempt to oppress their crushes in a number of ways, including athleticism.
Or to feel masculine. And so calling women bad names or treating them in really inferior sorts of ways, or making them feel demeaned or less than in a relationship.
Someone that is assertive and not fearful, meaning someone that has courage, and someone that is tenacious in the things that he does, things that are normally associated with manhood.
And a toxic relationship is, I think, 100% dependency on that person. And I feel like it'll be a lot more healthier if each person is their own independent person.
I think that a healthy relationship looks like a two-way street.
When people are able to argue and still forgive one another, people are able to be loyal. Can't forget that. If you don't have loyalty, if you don't have trust in a relationship, you simply don't have anything.
In other words, there's some give and take and compromise and mutual respect from both parties. I think that if it's a two-headed coin and there's one person who's doing all of the giving or all of the taking, then you have an opportunity for a toxic relationship to develop.
When I get asked questions from my family, it's like, oh, are you working still? Or do you have a girlfriend? I'm kind of like, but I think it always varies within your family or where you're living in your current situation. Because it's just subjective questions.
The difference between young men in relationships versus young men from the older generation and their relationships, I think it's gotten pretty drastically different. I think that young men of yesteryear had more of a sense of responsibility as it relates to caring for children, contributing to their own male image.
I see a lot of young men that don't know the concept of being loyal to the individual he's in a relationship with, or loyal to his family, or loyal to a job.
You have to be looked upon to, looked up to be a leader. And we don't have many leaders out here, especially in the African American field.
One of the things that strengthens a man is love. I know we don't talk about that a lot, but I think if a man has, that he knows he has at least one or two people in his corner that has his best interests at heart, I think a man can feel like that he can succeed. Everyone needs someone. No man is an island. So I think one of the things is love. And then failures. You cannot be success. You can't have success without failures.
Young men be role models for our younger men. Well, I think that unfortunately, many of our young men are being raised in single parent families.
Someone that you love and that misuses you and that betrays you, I think that weakens a man, as well as having the wrong friends. That is terrible. A lot of times we men, we're different when we're with a certain group of people. When we get with our friends, our buddies, we turn into a whole different animal. And if we have the wrong friends and associates in our lives, we will end up doing things that we know is not in the best interest of ourselves and our families, and that weakens us.
I'd say there's a big disconnect between the old generation and new generation. A lot of people aren't raised by their grandparents, and they're not raised by their great-grandparents if they're still around. And because of that, we're getting a disconnect from how things used to be to how they are now.
One of the things I really demand from the men that come in and mentor my young men is be transparent. A lot of times we see men that come, they are successful, they've made it in life, and they enjoy a reasonable amount of success, but they are not willing to be transparent. And what do I mean by that? Be able to share your success as well as your failures. Be able to share your challenges and the mistakes that you have made.
For there to be a difference, the old generation has to be willing to teach the new.
And being a man involves more than just sex, more than just bearing children. Being a man means being able to contribute and to protect and to care for and to preserve and to give wisdom and to share advice and to really build success in someone else's life.
The advice that I would give young men is that you're not hopeless, and if you're in a situation where you made a mistake or many mistakes, as long as you have breath in your body, there is always hope for you to build from where you are, and there's always a chance.